Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into ancient texts to uncover the absolute legend of Dwarka. We're going to take a sweeping mythological tragedy and look at it through the lens of a massive historical investigation. I'm super excited you're here with me. Let's get right into the rise, the fall, and the honestly stunning modern rediscovery of Lord Krishna's capital.
So you might be wondering, is this mythological legend or historical fact? For centuries, the spectacular sinking of this grand city was kind of just seen as a campfire story, right? An epic tale of faith, magic, and moral lessons. But as we'll see, the ocean floor actually holds a mind-blowing secret, one that seriously blurs the lines between ancient scriptures and modern archaeology.
Moving into Section 1, Foundation of the Great City. To understand how this legendary metropolis fell, we've got to first understand why it was even built.
What's really fascinating here is exactly where Dwarka stands in historical reverence. It's actually considered one of the 7 most sacred and ancient cities, right up there with places like Mathura, Kashi, and Ayodhya. Now, the city went by a few names originally, but it became famous as Dwarka, which literally translates to the city of doors or gates. And that wasn't just some poetic metaphor. It was called that because of its absolutely massive defensive walls and the sheer number of grand gates protecting everyone inside.
And believe me, it needed those towering defenses. After the tyrant king Kansa died, a really powerful ruler named Jarasandha essentially swore to wipe out the entire Yadava clan. I mean, he was launching relentless, devastating attacks on Mathura. So, seeing this huge danger mounting, Lord Krishna made a major strategic move to relocate his people for their own safety. He left Mathura behind and built this incredibly well-organized, totally impenetrable fortress city right on the coast. Dwarka was born out of a desperate need for a sanctuary, and for a long while, Krishna and the Yadavas lived there in total peace and prosperity.
Okay, Section 2, Two Prophecies of Doom. So the city actually thrived magnificently for 36 years after the Great Mahabharata War. But, peace never really lasts forever, does it?
It turns out, a dual doom was hanging right over this golden city. First, there was the profound grief of Mother Gandhari. After the war, she was just absolutely devastated by the loss of her 100 sons, and she completely blamed Krishna for the carnage. So she cursed him, declaring that just as the Kaurava lineage fell, the entire Yadava clan would ultimately destroy each other. And then, came a totally different curse, this one born out of just sheer arrogance. Some young Yadava guys thought it'd be funny to prank some visiting sages, including Vishwamitra and Narada. They dressed Krishna's son, Samba, as a pregnant woman and asked these wise sages to predict the baby's gender. The sages were, understandably, furious at the mockery. They cursed Samba to give birth, not to a baby, but to an iron mace that would literally wipe out their entire clan.
And these definitely weren't just empty threats. The curses started manifesting as these terrifying real-world omens all over Dwarka. We're talking fierce daily storms battering the walls and the streets suddenly just swarming with rats. But even worse was the moral decay. The citizens totally lost their sense of shame, and sinfulness just skyrocketed. Seeing all of this, Lord Krishna immediately recognized the exact same cosmic alignment that happened right before the catastrophic Mahabharata war. He knew the end was coming fast.
Now, human attempts to stop destiny, they rarely work out. Exactly as the sages predicted, that iron mace actually materialized. King Ugrasena was terrified, so he ordered the mace to be ground down into fine dust and tossed into the sea, literally hoping to wash the curse away. He even slapped a death penalty ban on alcohol to try and fix the city's morals. But the ocean, it completely rejected the dust. It washed right back ashore and, incredibly, took root, growing into tall, extremely sharp blades of grass called iroka, which were basically weeds with the lethal strength of solid iron.
Which brings us to Section 3, the deadly civil war.
Krishna, really hoping to save his people from the city's toxic environment, ordered the Yadavas to leave Dwarka and go on a pilgrimage to Prabha's Tirtha on the seashore. But, unfortunately, you just can't outrun fate. While they were there, a massive alcohol-fueled argument broke out. Satyaki insulted and ended up fatally striking Kritavarma. In swift retaliation, the Andakaka clan swarmed Satyaki. Krishna's own son, Pradyumna, rushed in to help, but tragically, both were slain by the mob. Furious at losing his son, Krishna reached down and plucked a handful of that cursed arenca grass growing right by the shore. And the second he pulled it, it instantly transformed into a terrifying iron mace. The entire clan basically went into a frenzy, plucking the grass themselves. Using these cursed, iron-hard weeds, the Yadavas turned on each other in this massive civil war, completely wiping out their own lineage, exactly as Gandhari had foreseen 36 years earlier.
Now for Section 4, The Gods Depart. With those ancient prophecies brutally fulfilled, the epic reaches its quietest and honestly most somber chapter.
In these incredibly tragic final moments, Krishna found his elder brother Balarama sitting in the forest, deep in meditation. And right before his eyes, Balarama left his physical body, returning to his pure spiritual form. Left entirely alone, Krishna sat down, slipped into a deep yogic trance, and accepted his destiny. Right at that exact moment, a hunter named Jara was tracking deer nearby. Seeing Krishna's foot partially hidden in the brush, Jara mistook it for a deer and loosed his arrow, fatally striking Krishna. When the hunter realized his terrible mistake, he broke down weeping. But Krishna, in his ultimate grace, comforted him, absolved him of any guilt, and then departed the mortal world.
But we still have the vulnerable survivors left behind, right? Fulfilling Krishna's final command, which came through his grieving father Vasudeva, the great warrior Arjuna rushed to Dwarka. He arrived to just utter heartbreak, a city of mourning widows and terrified citizens. Vasudeva warned Arjuna that the ocean was coming to claim the city. So Arjuna frantically gathered the surviving women, children, and elders and began escorting them to Indraprastha. And the ancient texts say that the exact moment they stepped out of the city gates, the sea rose up behind them. Dwarka, the magnificent, impenetrable fortress of Lord Krishna, was completely swallowed by the crashing ocean waves.
And finally, Section 5, Myth Meets Modern Archaeology. For millennia, this catastrophic ending was treated purely as a mythological fable. That is, until modern archaeology stepped in and gave us a stunning plot twist.
What's absolutely staggering here is one specific number: 560. Deep off the coast of modern-day Gujarat, marine archaeologists actually discovered a massive submerged ancient wall stretching exactly 560 meters along the ocean floor. Think about that. This tangible discovery physically validates the legend of the Grand Fortress City. Those towering defensive walls weren't just some poetic metaphor. The walls were real, and they are sitting right there at the bottom of the sea.
So this isn't just ancient rumor anymore. This is hard modern science. Get this, between 2005 and 2007, highly trained divers from the Indian Navy and the Archaeological Survey of India ran these extensive underwater expeditions, and right alongside those massive walls, they found ancient pottery and artifacts dating from 1528 BCE all the way back to 3000 BCE. The ruins found on the ocean floor remarkably align with the timeline of the epic scriptures, beautifully bridging the gap between faith and modern scientific discovery.
This incredible archaeological validation really forces us to look at our ancient texts completely differently, doesn't it? It proves that buried within these sweeping magical epics are real kernels of profound historical truth just waiting to be dug up. Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question to ponder. If the submerged, lost city of Dwarka is real, what other ancient myths are hiding in the shadows, just waiting to be discovered? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this journey through the ancient world sparked your curiosity as much as it did mine. Until next time, keep exploring.